Hi, my name is Darren Humphreys from Christchurch in New Zealand. Today I wanted to share with you my contribution towards the book In the Company of Angels, a compilation of stories and poems on Angelman Syndrome by those who know them best. This book was put together by Pam Lyman from the United States, and she invited people to contribute their stories. This is what she writes. Pam writes in her book about her son Conrad, and then there are a number of other stories. I wanted to share with you my contribution, and I encourage you to get hold of this book and read the stories. These are touch points for those of you who are on the journey with Angelman Syndrome as mothers, as fathers, as siblings, as grandparents. This is about my son Elijah Michael James Humphreys. Pam writes, I know that you will love this story as much as I do. It was one of the last stories I received. I can't count how many times I have read and reread the tender words of an adoring father. It's entitled Faith Journey. One of my most memorable experiences with my son Elijah were the Saturday mornings that I took him swimming after dropping off my wife and my daughter at piano lessons. We drove across town for him to go to the swimming pool with staff that was trained to work with children with disabilities. In the water, Elijah was in his element. In the swimming pool, Elijah could stand with the support of a foam ring and could walk. He was always sad when it was time to get out. One fun thing was trying to keep him in his car seat. One morning, I was driving our new car to the swimming pool and I heard a funny noise. I turned to see that he had managed to open the passenger door of his side of the car. I pulled the car over and quickly engaged the child lock to stop that from occurring again. Oops. The scariest moments of our life with Elijah both relate to seizures. When Elijah first started having seizures, it was pretty dramatic. He would have as many as 150 to 200 drop seizures each day. I knew that having seizures was likely to happen to Elijah, but nothing had really prepared me for having to watch as seizures took control of my son's body and feeling completely helpless. The last seizures that Elijah had didn't stop and resulted in massive brain damage and irreversible damage to his internal organs and muscle tissue. These were the seizures that would take his life. We realized once Elijah began having seizures that this would be something that would require treatment over a period of time. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that it would be these seizures that would take his life. There were times during his hospital stay that left my wife, our daughter and myself emotionally wrung out. We were devastated to learn the full extent of the damage to Elijah's body and that our dear son wouldn't live. We gathered our family and our close friends to say our goodbyes, and then his life support was switched off as he gently and quietly went on to eternal life in my arms. The journey has been filled with grief and pain, but Elijah in his journey still continues to speak to many people. It is firmly our hope that we'll be reunited with Elijah. That keeps us going on our journey of faith. One of my most memorable and precious experiences I have is when my daughter Francesca painted Elijah's feet and made prints of them on paper. During the last day of Elijah's life, the nurse who cared for Elijah in ICU suggested that Francesca might like to paint Elijah's hands and feet with poster paint and take prints of them. This is one of the only times that Elijah would have ever been still enough for this to take place. Francesca lovingly painted Elijah's hands and his feet and made prints of them on paper. Francesca has always dearly loved her brother and was excited to do this with him. The biggest thing that she misses about her brother is play wrestling with him on the floor each day after school. When Elijah was diagnosed with Angelman Syndrome, it was a great relief and a time of grief for us. One of the things that Elijah and Angelman Syndrome have done for us is to strengthen us as a family. We learn to slow down and celebrate the small things that Elijah learned to do. And these moments became more significant. Elijah crawled for so long, commando crawled in fact, and we celebrated when he finally pulled himself up to his feet to standing. Elijah's Angelman Syndrome led us to grow in areas of our faith for the inner and grew in us an inner and personal strength for the journey ahead. I hope that just sharing that small excerpt might be of some encouragement to someone out there today. And just want to encourage you that if you go online, you can look to get a copy of this book. I'm sorry, this is on the webcam. That's Pam Lyman in the Company of Angels. Well worth a read. Take care.